I'm just now realizing the state cloned Miss Love and threw her up on the fucking stand.
You're the expert, detective. Which songs regarding rap violence caused the death of children?
I don't know the name of the songs, but I know that those particular kids were involved in music.
Do you think you should be an expert on rap lyrics?
I never said I was an expert on rap music.
No concrete evidence that the lyrics that were played in this courtroom earlier were directly related to any actual criminal activity, right?
I didn't say it was connected to criminal activity. I never said. It's obvious that you were involved maybe in that crime.
It's obvious that you were involved if you're singing about it?
Could have been.
Object to the characterization of it's obvious that you were involved, maybe.
She just said it's obvious you were involved, maybe. Think about that sentence. This is not an expert, bro. Day 148 of the Young Thug YSL RICO trial was ridiculous. The state tries their hardest to connect Thug's lyrics to shootings by playing his music with the gang expert on the stand. Once again, this new quote-unquote gang expert almost causes a mistrial. All the gang experts the state has are terrible and they don't know how to testify. She says something about Thug's character and then the judge somehow says that it isn't equivalent to what Dennis did, which it is. It's strange. This lady basically says Thug was hitting licks, which means robbing people, and that was his way of life. A lot of intense cross-examination today. Hit subscribe. Here we go, boys. First look at Thug on day 148. Got the red suit on today, boys.
The state wanting the court to reconsider its ruling striking whatever day that was, that one day of the detective's testimony.
Oh, here we go. Let's see if Whitaker reconsiders her ruling on this. I highly doubt it.
The waiver argument that is presented in the defense response is meritorious. I think that the arguments that the state made.
I don't believe that is all the testimony that the prosecution team intends to get in through executive business. And so essentially it's an ongoing order of the court that we would be asking the court to authorize the state to present that witness to testify further.
So tell me what it is that this other investigator or detective is not going to be testifying to, because she was qualified to be able to testify to the meaning, her opinion as to the meaning of particular lyrics. So what is it that only this other witness, Dennis, could testify to?
I'm going to turn that over to the facts prosecutor.
All right.
Detective.
There's no difference. Dennis doesn't know some special thing about lyrics. This is all bullshit. Gang experts are all bullshit.
It was clear to me, sitting there, that when Ms. Hilton asked retired Detective Dennis, tell us about this photograph that has Mr. Kendrick standing on top of a car, his initial lead into that answer is, well, Mr. Kendrick just got out of prison. You know, that affects Jeffrey Williams. Mr. Kendrick, as the court may have heard, is signed to Mr. Williams' record label. Mr. Kendrick, as you will learn, is at Mr. Williams' home on May 9th, 2022 when Mr. Williams and Mr. Kendrick are arrested. And it is just not that simple to unwind that instruction. It was an intentional, obvious infliction to denigrate this trial and prejudice Mr. Williams, Mr. Kendrick, and all. You then have to do something about it. And what you asked to do is declare a mistrial. And you said, I'm not doing that, but there will be a sanction. So what are you going to do?
Obviously, considering that I'm the one that imposed the sanction, I think it was an appropriate sanction. Address the state's argument that a trial court doesn't actually have the authority to impose that sanction.
I think that's wrong. Courts have to have the power to ensure that the trial is, and I'm quoting, conducted with dignity, order, and decorum. They are the hallmarks of a court proceeding. But the judge said, well, this detective knows better. I find the detective is trying to harm this trial. The detective is barred. His testimony struck. The direct is gone. He can no longer testify. And the state did exactly what happened here. There is no way that anyone will convince me, I'm not the one who needs to be convinced, that Detective Dennis did not realize. It came out of nowhere. What difference does it make that Mr. Kendrick was released from prison 5 weeks earlier? What difference does it make? He did that to bring out to the jury that Mr. Kendrick was in prison for, and I'm telling you, it's a federal offense, a gun charge. There was no basis. So to me, to say you don't have the authority to do that, I believe you have every authority. If a witness comes in here and starts cursing, I would assume, you are going to say, you know, this is just not decorum. You can't curse. The witness curses again. You're going to do something. You're done testifying. Courts have that power. So I believe that the state's...
I mean, he's not wrong. The state's argument is kind of dumb that the judge doesn't have the right to do anything.
argument that you have no power to control the proceedings is not backed up by the U.S. Supreme Court.
All right, thank you.
This is one of Yacht Gotti's lawyers in replacement of Doug Weinstein today.
One of the reasons for this sanction, Your Honor, is because of, and I'm not pointing fingers at any particular district attorney, but the state's repeated unpreparedness, their repeated discovery abuses, and so this is a compound issue. My perception is that the court finally had to say, okay, we're not granting a mistrial, but we got to do something. And if you now go back on that decision and reverse your own decision, you are essentially creating an incentive for the state to continue these, I'll call them mishaps, whether they're negligent or intentional. And I think the court has sent a clear and convincing message to the state that they need to be buttoned up, more buttoned up than they have been. And so I would ask the court, certainly the court has the authority. Mr. Steele's done a very good job of explaining that, but I would ask the court to uphold its own decision to send that loud and clear message. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
60% of you aren't subscribed. Come on, hit the subscribe bell.
Frankly, I think that an argument could very plausibly be made that the detective in this case was upset with somebody about his qualifications having been challenged and had made a decision that he was going to show somebody what he thought about that. I don't know that that's what happened, but I do think...
She's saying it's possible the detective might have intentionally done that because of his qualifications being challenged.
That the detective absolutely knew better than to have said what he said and did it anyway. And I have given consideration to everything that has been presented, but I am not going to change my decision about this.
Oh, look, it's Miss Love. Dude, she's really taken a back seat the past few weeks. I don't know if that was because she's terrible or if it's just a coincidence. All right, so basically the first 4 hours of the day was nothing, as you can see on the screen right here. So here's the gang expert. So ridiculous. Here we go.
Vivian Darlington, Anthony Will, Calvin Treadwell, aka OG Bentley, Montavious Stevens, aka Tick, Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug. That's Demise, Matt Mullen, aka Nard. That is Antonio Sage, aka Wintu. I'm not sure which sister this is, one of Williams' sisters. I don't know which one.
At least for this date in March, some people associated with YSL was in Houston, Texas.
Yes.
So they're going through all these thug flyers of shows to prove that there wasn't a show in Miami.
And now these flyers starting in December.
Yes.
Did you see any flyers for January 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, or 15th?
No.
Did you see any flyers in Miami for the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, or 15th?
No. And we put all our pictures on the wall involving the Operation Planner's investigation. So we would collect social media posts and we would put them all that was related to the actual investigation on the wall. So we had this particular one on our wall.
Checked under foundation and authenticity. Just because it's put on a wall does not mean where it was posted or found.
All right, sustained, but you may.
That is so good, Brian Steele.
Your Honor, I'm going to maintain my objection, which was the same as Mr. Steele's, regarding the authenticity and foundation behind these posts.
Okay, overruled at this point.
My objection is we're talking about the collective. We did this, we did that, and I don't believe that this witness is the proper foundation for these posts. I don't believe this witness collected them.
Actually, there were threats coming in right after Donovan Thomas's murder from this particular social media site, and it was towards only members of YSL. So it was significant for that reason.
How is that coming into a trial? A random Instagram, we don't even know who it is, threatening YSL members suddenly after Nut was killed. How many times people are threatened on social media? Like, social media is so messy.
Significance was disrespect from one gang to another. Okay.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that response and ask it to be struck. That is beyond 24-7-704B. Talks about the significance of somebody's state.
Sustained.
You can tell she's getting annoyed. She's overstepping things here.
Individual standing on a vehicle.
And the vehicle, who did it belong to?
Objection. Calls for speculation.
If it's within her knowledge, don't speculate.
It was Rayshawn Bennett's vehicle, YFN Lucci.
Okay. And the person on the vehicle, were they a member of, okay, were they associated with a rival gang of YFN Lucci's?
Yes.
Okay. And
Objection, Your Honor. There's been no foundation laid for how this detective has knowledge about Simmons.
Actually, yeah, there has. Overruled.
Yak Gotti standing on Lucci's car.
now looking at State's Exhibit 3TT, is the car that you were just referencing this blue Maybach?
Yes.
All right. Do you know who that individual is?
Diamante Kendrick.
As a gang expert, is there some significance of a person associated with YSL standing on top of a vehicle with someone associated with YFN?
It is significant.
Your Honor, I'll object under 24-7-704B about the significance of somebody's mental state.
All right, I don't understand it to be asking that question. Overruled.
Like I said earlier, the disrespect between, I felt like that this particular,
In your opinion?
in my opinion, this is a sign of.
Just a second.
Okay.
Your Honor, it's also calling for her to have.
She's been qualified as an expert, and she's not testifying to their mental state.
Working as a gang investigator and dealing with different actual rivalries and, you know, the gang problems that we have had in the city. When we saw this particular post, we saw that it was like a gang member taking a shot at another gang member by standing on his vehicle outside of one of our malls here in Georgia. I think of gang culture as the behaviors, the actual gang showing their characteristics, may it be whether they're displaying their hand signs, their colors, their tattoos, and just their way of life as gang members.
Like, I can't believe we're talking about this more. We already know about all this. Other people have testified about gang shit. I'm just now realizing the state cloned Miss Love and threw her up on the fucking stand.
A lot of the gang members use this music to express themselves. They kind of, you know, talk about where they came from, how they came from it, things that they've done, their lifestyle in the music.
Do gang members sometimes use music to promote violence and fear of their gang?
Yes.
How?
Hypothetically, if gangs are beefing and even if they're local and they know that, you know, they listen to each other's music, they would take a shot. One gang would take a shot at another gang by saying disrespectful things or just letting them know that they are actually targeting them or talking to them through the words that they use. They brag about their gang. They glorify their gang. They glorify their gang members. They show the, like you said, alliances. It could be a blood gang that's, you know, really, really friendly with a Crip gang here in Georgia, and they will actually shout them out in music.
Do gang members use music to send messages to rival gangs?
They do. Just from my experience, being here and working here in Atlanta for over 30 years, I've only seen the gang members use rap music.
If you heard a gang member sing a country song about putting 100 rounds in a Tahoe, and that song comes out a year after a rival gang member was gunned down while standing near his Chevy Tahoe, and that Tahoe was hit multiple times with bullets, Would you consider that song in furtherance of the gang that gunned down that rival gang member?
Sustained.
I couldn't hear the objection. I wish defense lawyers turned on their mic for objections, but they don't. She's trying to connect Thug's lyrics to the shooting of Donovan Thomas. 100 rounds in a Tahoe, N-word, lighten up your tacos. Give him surgery, no lipo. I remember when this song came out, like dead ass, and I always thought it was him and his boys are in a Tahoe with 100 rounds looking for people. Not the other way around where they're shooting at a Tahoe, but that's just me. You see how lyrics could be, interpreted different ways?
Would that be consistent with something that's in furtherance of the gang? Not if you say
Overruled.
Like I said, each case is different, but if a country artist did do that and that country artist was a gang member, then yes, we would look at that gang member furthering the gang in that particular song.
What if a gang member where he said, I shot at his mommy, now he no longer mentioned me, and there was some information that members of that particular artist's gang shot at his rival gang member's mother's house? Would that be something that you would look at as being consistent with furthering the gang?
Same objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Before the element of the offense.
Reject this common question.
Overruled.
Yes.
Ms. Hilton's trying her hardest to connect Thug to this. All depends on how the jury sees it.
My experience is it's not the entire song. It might be a verse, or it might be just a line or a couple of words or a few words.
In preparation for your testimony, were you asked to review 3 songs in preparation for your testimony?
Yes.
This is just crazy. She's allowed to go through the lyrics, dude.
Like I said, it's Juice WRLD, Bad Boy featuring Young Thug.
Rest in peace, Juice WRLD, man. You a real one if you remember this video, boys.
Before I had a name for anything, bro, I used to watch y'all videos like all the time, like that. Cause I was in alternative school, so like, yeah, brother.
We're playing the song.
March the 25th, 2016.
An investigator and an expert, were there any particular words of note to you as you listened to this song?
Yes.
What were those words of note?
The 100 rounds in the Tahoe.
And why was that of note to you?
Because 2015, the year prior, we had investigated murder of Donovan Thomas where...
Hang on just a second. Yes, sir.
I'm going to check this point. This court, the trial court in this case, has previously ruled that...
Do we need to take this up outside the presence of the jury? I'm going to excuse y'all for a minute, please.
Jay Apt fighting. He came and replaced Doug Weinstein, but he's fighting.
That any expert who would be on the stand in this case, who would also be providing factual testimony.
Oh, yeah.
That would be
Splitting out the factual and the expert.
And so, yeah, and this witness is now, she's giving expert opinions, but now she's testifying about factual information. And I think that's going to mislead and confuse the jury. And the state is misleading the jury because this particular song that they now introduced to play for the jury was actually recorded 2 years earlier in 2014, prior to any murder of Donovan.
Ooh. Mic drop. It recorded in 2014. Defense could bring in files of songs and show that they were recorded before the murder.
Was there anything else of note to you in this particular song?
I think the part about killing 12.
And why was that of note?
Because the police is referred to as 12.
Were you aware of any incidents of YSL members alleged to have shot at police after 2016?
After 2016, yes, we had a police officer shot, a gang officer shot.
They're reaching, trying to connect them to Christian Eppinger, shooting a cop, running from police. Such a reach, dude.
Same objection I raised before, previously.
Sustained.
She just did the same thing. She testified as an expert, then went back to factual. So I've got to pick one. They are not playing this song, dude. They're playing Just How It Is, I think.
I put on my brothers.
Can't believe this is real life, that we're playing thug songs in court. I can't believe this is real.
When was this released on Mr. Williams' YouTube channel?
September 16, 2019.
What, if anything, was of note to you in this song?
We killed the biggest kitten of all kitties.
Wait. What? We kill the biggest kitten of all kitties. They're trying to say it's about Donovan Thomas? There's no way.
Again, it reflected us back to the Donovan Thomas murder. He was a big person for the Inglewood family Bloods. He was a high-ranking member, well-known, well-respected, I guess, among his gang. It was a part about, I did the jacking and the robbing. Now I'm rapping.
Okay. Based on your review of reports and information that you gathered as an expert, were you aware of a robbery in May of 2013?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Sustained.
Were you aware of a police report involved?
Yes.
In which she alleged to have been robbed in 2013?
It's a leading question, and we can facts and evidence.
So I'm trying to narrow down the issue so we can get to the answer as an expert that she's reviewed and she's aware of this.
So the jury will recall what the prior testimony was. Go ahead.
Are you aware who was a person of interest in that armed robbery?
Yes. Like Jeffrey Williams and DK, and I'm not.
Me and Thug got there. We get out the car and run. I just went the wrong way, man. I should have fought Thug there.
This is about when that car went flying to the laundromat. This is Adrian Bean, right? Is that his name? Adrian Bean? Oh my God, that feels like forever ago. He ran the wrong way and the cops got him, but Thug went the other way. But there's no evidence besides him saying this that Thug was in the car. There's nothing.
And to your knowledge, was Mr. Williams ever charged with either the two incidents we just referred to?
No.
Now they're playing the fucking Bad Boy Juice WRLD song. Rest in peace, Juice WRLD, man. That's crazy. This is insane. I shot at your mommy, now you no longer mention me in this song.
And were there any particular words of note to you in this song?
Yes.
What was that?
I shot at his mommy. He no longer mentioned me. That location was YSL Lucci's mother's residence during the time that she was a victim of 2 drive-by shootings.
So showing the crime scene of Lucci's mom getting shot at, and then...
If there's a word such as I shot at your mommy and you no longer mention me, and you see particular evidence of that when you're doing your investigation, for you, in your opinion, what if anything is being communicated?
Sustained.
Why is that of significance to you?
Because
as an expert, why is that of significance?
I don't know what the answer is going to be, but it is potentially going to be a 704B issue. So
I'll move on, Your Honor.
All right.
If music becomes a part of your investigation, does it become important if there is any type of evidence or information that support what may be contained within the music?
Well, the same objection, not down to Ken, the jury anyway.
sustained.
Steele's coming for blood today with these objections.
As an expert, was shooting at a police officer, could that increase the status in a gang?
Yes, it shows your the other gang members that you are willing to put in work for the gang.
Wasn't for the gang. He was running from the police. He was trying to get away from being arrested. I feel like he was hunting down police with a YSL shirt on. We gotta do this for the gang. Where's the cop at? No, motherfucker. He's running. He's a wanted man.
Life on the line, because sometimes if an officer fires back, then you can be killed. So you will risk your life for the gang. But if you can do it and get away with it, you get stained. And stain, the definition of stain is you get like not really rank, but you can get like appreciation, or you can get street creds.
All right, Brian Steele up for cross. This should be interesting. Should be able to pick apart this gang expert here, boys.
You know, how many times in Jeffrey Williams songs, I'll just leave it at his, then I'm going to broaden it, but how many times did he talk about, you know what a lick is?
Yes.
Just tell the jurors, they probably know. But
A lick could be a jacking, a robbery, or putting in work. Could be a snatch and grab. Anything to get money, it can be considered a lick.
how often in Jeffrey's music does he use poetry to talk about licks?
Like I said, I don't listen to the music that much to be an expert on his music. These couple of songs, he talked about licks, but I can't tell you definitely how many times. But I understand that that was a way of life for him, and that he...
Don't I have a motion?
I'm going to excuse the jury, and I'm going to excuse you, please.
She said it's a way of life, and he said I have emotion instantly. So, I mean, what could that be? Is that considered bad character evidence? Probably. Yeah, way of life, hitting licks. Yeah, it has to be. That has to be bad character evidence, just like Dennis did. Dude, why do all these gang experts don't know how to testify, bro? Neither of them know how to testify. Look at Miss Hilton's face.
Belief is that I was asking about Mr. Williams' music and how often he would sing about or use poetry about licks. And the answer that came out is that is his, and I'm not quoting it, but so if I'm wrong, please apologize, but it just happened. I believe that's his way of life, something to that effect. I believe that's character. This is a gang expert. This is a 10-year, 12-year police officer, gang unit, ATF affiliate, and it's just repetitive. We just had the same exact issue come up with the former or retired Detective Dennis, and I just don't understand. You know, I'm asking questions. I did not invoke character, and I get that's his way of life. Whatever the quote is, okay, Mr.
I understand that was a way of life for him. Also, in the same answer, she's talking about not being an expert on his music, and I know she mentions lick as well. I don't think it comes anywhere near what happened with Investigator Dennis. I think that's a kind of vague. I do think it's...
She's saying he's a way of life of hitting licks. There's a way of life. Thug was hitting licks.
crossed the line in the way that what Investigator Dennis said in his testimony, but I will have her back and instruct her, which frankly she'll know better anyway. But I do think it was kind of vague enough and wrapped up in enough other things. I'll give a curative instruction if you all would like, or we can just move on.
I would just ask for the mistrial. I believe it will be denied, and that I could preserve it with a curative instruction. Yes.
Okay.
Shout out Thugger Daily for this information. You ready for this doozy? Thug has no criminal history and was never charged with robbery. But she just said in front of the jury that's a way of life of him hitting licks.
All right, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to instruct you to please disregard the last response given by this witness just before the break, as it was non-responsive to the question asked.
What are we on, like 105 times now? They have to delete something from their brain?
Does Jeffrey Williams, in his poetry, talk about licks?
I don't know how many.
Do you have any experience or study or expertise or training in the history of the rap music?
No.
How is she allowed to talk about lyrics then? Like straight up from that answer right there.
Have you ever spoken with any record label personnel that's affiliated with Jeffrey Williams?
No.
Do you know whether Jeffrey Williams is, you mentioned 3 songs, I believe, Slime, and I'm just not going to say it, but SH_T, Just How It Is, and Bad Boy. Fair to say?
Yes.
Do you know who actually wrote the lyrics to any of those songs?
I don't.
I mean, he's just casting doubt, saying there could be ghostwriters in rap anyway. But either way, it's art form.
100 rounds in a Tahoe. If I'm saying it wrong or you think it's different, just, correct me. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. Do you know what the next line is to that song?
N-word, lighten up your tacos.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
When it says 100 rounds in a Tahoe, does that mean that the bullets went into a Tahoe, or does it mean that there's 100 rounds of ammunition inside of a Tahoe that someone's driving? If you know.
100 rounds in a Tahoe, it could be either or.
There you go. There's the doubt. It could be either or. So it's basically up to the jury here to decide lyrics connecting someone to a shooting.
What is the essence of that line?
I did not. It was just ironic that crime happened with the Tahoe and the victim was the ops.
How many rap songs, I'm just limited to rap songs, and if you don't know, just say, I don't know, talk about rounds in a vehicle?
I don't know specifically how many. I haven't kept up with that. They don't blame that B word for pulling you down. That could be a woman. It could be reference to a woman bringing somebody down, or...
How does the Donovan Thomas, tell the jurors, from your investigation, how does the Donovan Thomas killing relate to a woman pulling someone down?
I think on direct, we said that the entire song didn't reference the murder. You're making the song about the murder. We said on direct that that first line was in reference to the murder. So that was it, just a snippet.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Are you done? I didn't mean
I'm
to.
done.
Okay. You or somebody, your teammate, found one line and ignoring the context or the other words or lyrics around the line. Is that fair to say?
No, we didn't ignore it, but that particular line stood out because of the words that were used.
Did any of the other lines assist that one line that you're focusing on with the Tahoe?
No, but it jumped off into, like F12 and killing 12, and so Donovan Thomas wasn't 12, so we can't say this song was about just Donovan Thomas. We know that. We know that just that particular first line, and he did it a couple of times. He said it 2 or 3 times in the song.
Doesn't this all sound like a bunch of reaching? It's insane this is being shown to a jury.
I'm sure there's a lot of rappers that probably talk about killing the police, but this song had the YSL S word first, then killing 12 S word. Like, it was referencing that that's what YSL do, kill 12.
And which police officer, God forbid, was killed that you're referring to?
In this song? I didn't say one was killed, but killing 12 is like...
There wasn't any police officers killed. Let's point that out.
I want to kill 12, or it could reference anything.
Do you have, through your investigation of this case, your knowledge and collective knowledge, do you have any police officer that, God forbid, has been killed?
No, but I have seen where YSL members have fired at the police.
Tell the jurors the last time Jeffrey Williams had any contact whatsoever through your investigation with Demeke and Garland.
I can't tell you. I don't know when.
So what Steele's doing here is distancing Thug from all these people in the picture because they probably haven't talked in years, like 9-10 years.
Treadwell, aka OG Bentley.
I'm going to ask you the same question. When is the last time Jeffrey Williams had any communication through your investigation with Mr. Kelvin Treadwell?
I don't know. Back whenever, in 2015, when all this was going on, they stayed, in touch. But this has been, like you said, 10 years ago almost.
The young man next to him, is that Trontavious Stevens?
Yes.
Also known as Ticker Slug?
Yes.
All right. Well, do you know how much contact Jeffrey Williams has with Trontavious Stevens? Since
I don't know.
The young man next to Mr. Stevens, is that Mr. Demise McMullen, also known as Nard?
Yes.
And how much contact has Jeffrey Williams had with him since 2015?
I do not know.
The gentleman to the right of Mr. McMullen, is that the gentleman named Mr. Sledge?
Yes.
Also known as Muntuk?
Yes.
How much contact, or when is the last contact Jeffrey Williams ever had with that gentleman?
I don't know.
And that lyric is, I shot at his mommy, now he no longer mentioned me. Fair to say?
Ooh, let's see what he does with this.
Yes.
And you related that back to January 22nd, 2015, January 26th, 2015, shooting at Mr. Bennett's mother's home, and his mother got shot on the 2nd, or January 26th, 2015 date. Fair to say?
Yes, but that second part of he no longer mentioned me, it refers to the back and forth that he and Lucci did on social media for the whole world in Atlanta to see. They were going back and forth for a while.
Okay, I want to talk to you about that back and forth, okay? If the shooting happens in January 2015, and the lyric that you're telling the jury about and educating the jury is, I shot his mommy, now he no longer mentioned me. So you're saying since January 26, 2015, if I'm wrong, just correct me, Mr. Bennett no longer mentions Jeffrey Williams. Is that what the lyric means to you?
No, the lyric means to me that we have been going back and forth, talking about each other, targeting each other on social media, having words go back and forth. And I think that Jeffrey Williams put something out about his mother. He said something about his mother on social media about he glad he takes care of his mother or something like that. So I'm thinking that he was just taunting or just like he was doing on the videos that he was making. He was taunting him in this song.
Brian Steele's cooking right now.
Saying that once the shot, God forbid, came to the mother, on January 26, 2015, this lyric means that he, Mr. Bennett, no longer mentions me. Is that what the lyric means? And if it's not, and if your answer just states...
I can't say what exactly it means. I'm saying what I saw as an investigator, as a gang investigator, when the back and forth and the gang beef continued way after the 2015.
What? So clearly Steele has evidence that they did keep talking back and forth and they were mentioning. So it's obviously contradicting what Thug said in the song. But this lady seems to not know a bunch of shit about what any of this means.
It's not that I didn't study them or I don't study them. It's that I can read words and I see what the words say. And a lot of times if I'm investigating something or if I know it's an ongoing beef between you and the ops and you sending messages through your music or through the words that you're putting on paper or on wax or whatever they call it, it's noticeable because of the investigation.
Wouldn't you want to then go out and ask somebody who was there at the time of the creation of that song, how did this How did this lyric come about?
No, it's self-explanatory mostly. I mean, it's words, but the words mean stuff. It means something.
From your vantage point of what you do for a living, those words mean exactly what you believe.
Yes, it's been several songs that have gotten people killed around Atlanta, for sure.
This type of violence and gangs and killing 12, is that popular?
It is, but it shouldn't be.
Who is the co-artist on that? The jury saw a video. There were two people singing.
Yes. That's another rapper.
Who is that?
I don't know, Bad Boy.
One more.
I thought she was gonna say Juice WRLD. Why'd she say Bad Boy? How is this the expert? She don't even know the other artists on the song. What are we doing here? This is not real.
I mean, I'm looking at the name of the person. I don't know him. I just know that he's a collaborator with Mr. Williams.
Do you know that person's performer's name?
No.
Do you know whether any of these lyrics were changed in any way after they were actually sung?
No, I don't know that.
Do you know whether that can occur?
I mean, anything's possible, but...
I'd done the jacking, now I'm full-time rapping. Remember that?
Yes.
Do you know whether any other artist has that exact lyric before Jeffrey Williams used it in the song?
I don't know.
Any of this music, these lyrics, I know you don't know who wrote them, but you don't know if they're just art, do you? And not autobiographical.
It can be art. It can be looked at as art. I agree that it's art, but I think that when actual crimes are committed and you brag about it in a song, or you reference it in a song, or you...
But the lyrics aren't close enough to be directly tied to a crime. The only way I could see this being a thing is if they named Nut in a song. That's what, like, Fulio and Young and Ace do. You know what I mean? When they're naming people that are dead.
Phenomenal performer known as Lil Wayne.
Yes.
Are you familiar with his music?
Yes.
That on or about the 26th day of April 2015, he was here in Atlanta and in a tour bus, and that tour bus was fired upon.
Yes, that was a part of our operation planners.
Okay. Now, you knew Jeffrey Williams was performing in or around Holly Grove, Louisiana during that same time, same date. Fair to say?
Yes.
All right. Were you aware, through your investigation, through you or your teammates, your prosecution team, earlier that year, 2015, 2014, Jeffrey Williams and the performer known as Lil Wayne did music together?
No, I didn't know that.
She don't know that? She's the expert and doesn't know they do music, even though they had beef. So he's dissecting the beef with Wayne and Thug right now, casting doubt on it because there is some doubt.
In 16 and 17 and 18, Jeffrey Williams and the performer known as Lil Wayne did music together.
Objection, assume effects on evidence.
I'm asking questions if she's aware. Jeffrey Williams and Lil Wayne did music together 2016, 17, and or 18.
I didn't see that in the investigation.
All right. Do you know if anybody ever spoke with Lil Wayne during your investigation?
I think they might have spoke to his people, maybe, around the tour bus incident. Okay. But I'm not sure who and how, because that was like a Cobb County.
Cobb 6 coming out Friday, first show. New Orleans, Holly Grove. Beat me down, baby. Beat me down, you did. With them dicks, too. Yeah.
State says that was taunting Wayne. They say the beef started when Thug wanted to name his project Carter 6, right?
Determine whether that was choreographed and promoted by the record label or anybody with the record label. Do you know? Do you have any knowledge of how much money has gone into marketing the performer known as Young Thug? Do you know?
I'm sure a lot.
Where was Jeffrey Williams physically living in 2014?
I have no idea.
How about 15?
15, I was a part of the search warrant team. Well, can I talk about that? The resident?
Yeah. Your Honor, I think we need to move past.
Just answer the question of whether you know where he was living.
Yes, some parts of 2015.
Okay. How many residents did he have in 2015?
I'm not sure. I just know of one.
What was that all about? Oh, so this was she was about to start yapping about a legal search warrant. Shout out Thugger Daily. We got so close to yet another mistrial. Began talking about a legal search warrant of his home in 2015 and stopped. This lady doesn't know how to testify, straight up.
For considerable periods of time outside of Atlanta during all those years.
I don't know.
God forbid the killings, January 10th, 2015. Okay. How many times did Jeffrey Williams initiate? I mean, he's the one to initiate the caller to Demise McMullen.
I don't know.
How about Kenneth Copeland?
I don't know.
Justin Cobb?
I don't know. I didn't look into that part of the investigation.
Okay. Same question on the 12th. Do you know what he was doing?
On the 12th, where he was? I don't know.
How does she not know that he went to Miami after the murder of Donald Thomas? How does she not know that if she's an expert that was investigating him? That's a known thing. All right, Jay apt up for Yak Gotti.
A photograph depicting Mr. Kendrick standing on the hood of a vehicle. You said you wanted to focus on, quote, the crime at hand and who committed it.
I didn't say it was a crime. I said it was disrespect.
Okay, so you don't believe that my client was committing a crime?
If he didn't damage the vehicle, no.
Perceived that was an act of disrespect, correct? Okay. Did you question Mr. Kendrick or any of Mr. Kendrick's associates about him doing that?
I did not.
Did you question Mr. Rayshawn Bennett about that incident?
No, I didn't.
And to be clear for the jury, Rayshawn Bennett is the person who you believe owned that car, correct?
Correct.
He's also known as YSL Lucci, right?
Yes.
So you didn't question him about how he perceived it?
No.
And you didn't question any of Mr. Bennett's associates or friends about that incident?
I didn't, but Mr. Lucci spoke out on a pod with how he felt about that.
You're assuming that it was gang-related, correct?
I'm not assuming. I know what was going on when that happened.
You didn't question anyone involved, but you knew
I didn't have to question. I knew that it was a gang beef going between YFN, Lucci, and his crew, and also YSL and their crew.
When is the last time before that photograph that Mr. Bennett and Mr. Kendrick spoke in person? Do you know?
I think they ran into each other at Lennox, but that was just according to social media.
Casting doubt on this being gang related and showing the jury that she doesn't know much. It's almost like they're assuming it was gang related.
Is it possible that they made a bet that day and this was just someone winning a bet?
I don't know what was said.
You don't know, right? Because you didn't ask anyone, correct?
No, but the guy stood on the guy.
Let her finish her answer, and y'all are kind of talking over each other, so try not to do that. Thank you.
Sorry, Your Honor. So you don't know for certain whether it was gang related or a bet or what the reason was or the intent was behind Mr. Kendrick standing on that vehicle. That's fair to say you don't know because you didn't question any of them.
I saw the reaction of Mr. Lucci when he was questioned about it.
Why not ask him? Why not go and ask him then?
I didn't have to ask him. I saw his reaction. He wasn't happy.
He didn't have to follow the evidence?
He wasn't happy.
It's possible he wasn't happy because he lost a bet and had nothing to do with gang activity? Yeah, it is assuming facts. You don't know one way or another what the reason or intent was in my client's mind. Isn't that fair to say?
I don't know what his intent was, but he got a reaction out of Lucci.
This is getting intense. J-App coming with the damn energy.
You believe in the First Amendment, right?
I do.
You believe in people's right to free speech?
I do.
You believe in musicians' ability to create lyrics for art, right?
I do.
But you stated in your testimony that you think rap music that depicts violence is popular, but it shouldn't be.
I agree. It shouldn't be glorified. I stand by that.
You also said that there are songs which have killed children in Atlanta. Which song?
I don't know specific songs, but I know that it's music. The reason for the beef, as far as the Atlantic Station situation, they were going back and forth on social media with songs and disrespecting each other.
Hold on. How are you going to say there's songs that killed children, but you don't know a specific song? How are you going to say that? This isn't real. This has got to be a social experiment on us.
Thing you know is gunplay and children are dead.
You're the expert, detective. Which songs? Which songs regarding rap violence caused the death of children?
I don't know the name of the songs, but I know that those particular kids were involved in music, talking about each other in the music.
Do you think you should be an expert on rap lyrics?
Sustained.
I never said I was an expert on rap music. You said that.
Why are we? You're not an expert on rap music. They just fucking asked you about lyrics for an hour. What are we doing then?
Lyrics, and even lyrics about violence, can be used as art to depict, to be marketed, and for commercial purposes without being factual, right? You agree with that?
I have heard of that and seen that, but
and that can be done in movies.
It's not a good thing. That's all I say.
Not a good thing?
Right.
You ever seen the movie The Untouchables with Robert De Niro?
Probably not.
No? Goodfellas?
Seen Goodfellas.
Okay. So do you think Robert De Niro should be charged with crimes because he depicts murder and violence?
No.
What about Al Pacino?
If he was charged when he stepped off the movie set and he went and did the actual things that he did in the movie, then yes, he should be charged.
But you said in earlier testimony that if it's depicting previous actual acts of violence, then that should be a crime.
Like I said, if Robert De Niro left the movie set and went out and shot somebody like he did in the movie, then yes, he should be charged.
That's not what you said earlier. You said...
I would say argumentative, Your Honor.
Did you say earlier that someone who is rapping about a previous act of violence should be held responsible for that?
That's not what I said.
Okay.
I said that they put in the music or in the wording of the songs things that have happened, meaning whether it was a shooting, whether it was a drive-by, whether it was a smash and grab, whatever. I say that sometimes it can be a confession. Sometimes it can be taunting just to the other gang members or the ops or whatever.
So if it's taunting, then it should be criminalized. Is that your...
I didn't say that either.
Okay. No concrete evidence that the lyrics that were played in this courtroom earlier were directly related to any actual criminal activity, right?
I didn't say it was connected to criminal activity. I never said that.
Well, so they're just art. They're just free speech then.
He's cooking low-key.
It's free speech, but like I said, when you talk about a crime that actually happened and your group is the suspect, it's
what? It's what?
It's obvious that you were involved maybe in that crime.
It's obvious that you were involved if you're singing about it?
Could have been.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to object to the characterization of it's obvious that you were involved, maybe.
Yeah, what? She just said it's obvious you were involved, maybe. Think about that sentence. This is not an expert, bro.
Object to Mr.
Overruled. What else?
It's hard to defend that you didn't have anything to do with what you're pretty much confessing in a song.
Okay, and I guess that's my point. If Robert De Niro plays Al Capone, and he's playing Al Capone in a movie, is it then obvious that he's the one who's in the mafia? I don't understand. Why is it that singing about a previous crime that occurred somehow ties you to that crime? What evidence do you, and let me rephrase, what evidence do you have that either Mr. Kendrick or Mr. Williams actually committed the murder of Donovan Thomas?
I didn't tell you that I had evidence of that. Did I tell you that?
You testified.
I testified that they killed Donovan Thomas?
You testified that it was obvious.
Got me mixed up. I didn't tell you that.
So it's not obvious that they're involved?
Objection, Your Honor, because I'm not sure where we're going to go, and so I want to...
Well, a minute ago...
Hang on and let me listen to her objection. A search warrant that got the results of which were suppressed. Don't even veer into territory like that, and I'm not going to go through all of the different possibilities, but... Just be mindful when you testify to be careful not to testify to anything that as an experienced detective, shouldn't be being talked about, okay?
Okay.
We have to coach a detective on how to testify.
You're not aware of Mr. Kendrick in any way, shape, or form being tied to or involved in the murder of Donovan Thomas. Isn't that true?
I know he was arrested and charged or a suspect for it.
Were his fingerprints found anywhere?
I didn't work the homicide portion of that. You would have to refer to.
You don't know. You don't know if his.
I didn't get into the homicide investigation.
You don't know if his fingerprints were found on the Tahoe or any evidence in the case.
No.
You don't know if his DNA was found.
No.
You don't know if any ballistics were found that were tied to Mr. Kendrick. Correct?
No.
In fact, you're not aware of any eyewitnesses who saw Mr. Kendrick commit that crime. Correct?
I don't know of any.
Hypothetically, if those lyrics were released in 2014, before the murder of Donovan Thomas, then would it be fair to say that the Tahoe mentioned in the song had nothing to do with Mr. Thomas's murder, right?
That would be fair.
You're not suggesting that whoever wrote the lyrics was psychic and predicted the murder of Donovan Thomas, right?
I did not say that.
Okay.
All right, Max Shard up for cross. J-App kind of came in real aggressive, but he did pretty well.
Had training in how gangs use music to promote fear in other gangs. Again, who were the musicians or anyone that spoke to you about that?
No musicians.
Okay.
The classes that I've taken have been all from law enforcement when it came to gangs. My other classes at Columbia Southern were professors, but they didn't talk about gangs.
Okay. And the how gangs use music to promote fear in other gangs. What date was that? Who taught you about that?
I told you what class. I don't remember the instructor on one of them, but I do. Like I said, the most recent one at APD within the last 3 years. It might have been while she was still here.
Now I asked you to review a song called Homicide, written and performed by Lil Woody. Have you ever watched that video?
I haven't.
So that's the Woody song that came out, I think in maybe 2020 or 2021 or something. I think they showed it in court before. It's like literally the music video is a murder plot of a fat person that resembles Threat is in the video too.
Okay. Are you aware of this song?
No.
You aware that in that music video, in that song, Woody talks about putting money on someone else's head?
Not aware.
Are you aware that the person he talks about putting money on their head is a heavy-set African-American male?
Not aware of that.
Are you aware that the person he conspires with in that video to kill the heavy-set African-American male is Trevante Turner?
And I'll say objection vague as to, are you talking about what happened in the video?
Yes.
This video, so
I haven't seen the video.
Okay, so you're not aware that Trevante Turner played the role of the hitman in Woody's video where
I haven't seen that video.
Casting doubt, throwing the theory out there, it could be Woody that killed Donovan Thomas again. So apparently this is all going to be about Lil Rod's murder conviction, which obviously Lil Rod is there to make everyone else look bad because he's already convicted. He's already guilty, sitting next to other defendants. Clearly, he's there to make them look bad.
5 7 shots, and then there was a second gun that was going off, and that was about 3 or 4.
Okay, did you hear anything else besides the shots being fired? Any vehicles speeding?
No, just the shots.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Oh, help me.
All right.
She said, oh, help me. He's like, oh, man, I know it's going to be long.
Comment on the various attorneys.
How long do 911 calls preserve?
Our system can only hold so much, so the system purge out the 911 calls itself. We don't purge it out. The system does that. 911 she'll hold the audio for at least 3 to 4 years.
3 or 4 years?
Years.
Did you know anyone by the nickname Little Rod?
Yes.
Did you know somebody by the nickname of Bally?
Yes.
Bally is Blaylock.
Do you remember telling the detectives that both Lil Rod and Bally were members of the YSL gang?
Yes.
Back then in 2019, she said they were part of YSL gang to detectives. Keep in mind, this is about to get into a shooting where Lil Rod is convicted of murder here, and he's already serving life in prison. Do you guys think that this should be shown to a jury when there's other co-defendants' lives on the line? Seems like double dipping to me, but you know.
We in the house, I was talking to Blaylock then. Boom, after that we went downstairs, played the game, I dozed off. In the midst of me dozed off, I hear Tahir on the phone saying, pull up, we finna do one. Do one mean
Okay, well, let's not tell me what anybody said. So let's, you talk faster than any of us in the courtroom, okay?
What, someone's talking about f***ing? Is that what I just heard?
I heard her in the background, boom. After that, I heard what she said, I got up. In the midst of me getting up, Blaylock attacked me. I went out the door. I see a Dodge Blue Charger pulling up. Next thing you know, I went to the car because BJ rolled down his window. And he was like, Mariah, where they at? He was asking me where somebody was. Boom. After that, me and he was talking about going to do, like, get some weed or whatever. Boom. After that.
Hold on 1 second.
This girl saying boom and talking too much and too quickly. Oh my God, I saw a comment in the chat that said Atlanta education system failed.
You all go inside to an apartment or?
No, she get out the car first. Then next thing you know, she come back and get me out the car and the car just got shot up all of a sudden. But when we get out the car and we started running, I seen Blaylock and Leroy running towards the car, like literally shooting the car. I saw them.
Okay. And had you ever been?
Oh, she's telling. See, this is why he's already convicted. He's already fucked. He's in jail for life.
I mean, I really don't know what to say because they keep saying objection every time I say something, so I really don't know.
All right, I get it.
You don't worry about what they say. Just stop, and then if he asks you another question, unless you hear objection again, go ahead and answer.
Okay.
Just tell me what Bally and Lil Rod say. Don't tell me what anybody else said, okay?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't know.
Do they say, well, let me ask you this, are they talking about the shooting of the Charger?
Yes.
So what do they say?
I mean, I just hear Blaylock saying, oh man, I didn't know that was him, this and the third.
Right. And does Lil Rod say anything?
I'm not sure.
Wait, after they killed him, they were like, "Oh shit, I didn't know it was him. Shouldn't have done it," type shit.
Did you set up BJ, Jamari, and Red to be shot that night?
No.
Right. Did you know that Bally and Little Rod were going to come running out, shooting at the Charger with BJ, Jamari, and Red?
No.
Jesus. Intense. Alright, that's pretty much it for day 148. Brian Steele cooked today on Cross, so did Jay Apt. The whole lyric thing, I can't believe this is real. Hit subscribe, join channel membership. Love you guys. Peace out.
Diamonds.